At Raising Financial Freedom, we're on a mission to inspire and empower financial freedom to every parent so that they can pass it along to their children. Through engaging stories, expert advice, and actionable tips, our podcast is transforming lives and helping listeners take control of their financial futures. Your support helps us produce high-quality, impactful episodes, expand our reach to underserved communities, and keep this life-changing content free for everyone. Whether it's $5, $10, or any amount, every donation fuels our mission and makes a difference. You can donate by clicking the heart-shaped link next to the social icons or the link at the bottom of the show notes. Once again, thank you for supporting Raising Financial Freedom and joining us in creating a world where financial freedom is within everyone's reach. Together, we can make a difference.
Well, hello, and we are back as usual. And today on Raising Financial Freedom, episode 31, we have a little bit of financial literacy news. And on top of that, I have a guest for you. Her name is Marilyn Pinto. She is from the Kids Finance Initiative, and she's here today to talk about damaging mistakes parents make with money and teens. So let's get this started in
10, 9, 8. Come on, Dad. Stop playing around and play the music.
Sheesh, tough crowd.
Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have it all financially? Do well-off parents simply hand their children money? Or is there more to this wealth thing? Welcome to Raising Financial Freedom, the podcast. We are here to talk about everything you never knew to teach your children when it comes to starting their financial future. The principles behind wealth and methods that are out there to teach your child about personal financial freedom. There is no real trick to earning other than learning. We are here to discuss, teach, and grow with you. Raising Financial Freedom, the podcast, with your host and concerned parent, Eric Yard. Let us get right into today's show.
Now for a little bit of news. Prominent leaders who hail from business, sports, and entertainment industries recently committed to advancing the financial literacy for all movement through their organization. So now the Financial Literacy for All seek to improve financial literacy for all Americans. Now, this just recently started, and I'm kind of excited for this because there are a lot of heavy hitters in business and entertainment who are getting involved. Now, these leaders are making a 10-year commitment to reach millions of youth and working adults, provide necessary tools to make the right financial decisions in their lives. This article is kind of small for such a big topic to me, but hey, it's big news. Just to name a couple of the big organizations that's getting involved is Walmart, Bank of America, Disney, the NBA, Delta, the NFL, and Walgreens. So that's pretty big right there. Hopefully I could get to talk to someone from this project and I could take a more deeper dive into it. But for now, the links will be in the show notes to this article, and the links to their website also will be in the show notes. Now, my guest today is Marilyn Pinto, and she is from the Kids Finance Initiative. And KFI helps kids prepare for the real world when it comes to finance. So let's get into our discussion with Marilyn. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Raising Financial Freedom. Today, I would like to welcome Marilyn Pinto. Marilyn.
I'm right here. Thank you so much for having me, Eric.
Hey, nice to see you. So, Marilyn, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm actually so excited to be on your podcast. So yeah, today's a especially nice day.
Okay, that's good. Marilyn, let's get right into it. With what's going on, the pandemic winding down, what is your opinion of how the financial fallout would be?
The last year and a half has really put the lack of financial education in focus, I think more than it ever was in recent times. And thankfully, at the end of the pandemic, or the light at the end of the tunnel, I'm hoping to see more people who are actually taking more of an interest in this and being a lot more focused on their financial freedom. So I've already seen that in the last year and a half. It really has been a priority for whether it was financial institutions or schools. It really has brought this topic into the forefront. So I'm really positive that this is going to have a good effect.
So you've been seeing some slight changes.
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's good. That's good. From a child's perspective, what is money to them? And what are some of the negative ways they've been introduced?
For one, most parents, really this depends on different cultures, but most cultures tend to not talk about money, or they treat the topic as taboo. Kids, when their only introduction to money is when they need it to buy things. They aren't introduced to it in a way that they can leverage the tool. It's usually we are slaves to money. We need it to buy stuff. And I think that needs to change. And that is something that a lot of parents think that kids are going to learn about this in school, but that is one of the biggest mistakes that parents delude themselves with, thinking that their kids are going to learn this in school. And I don't just mean whether it's US curriculums or UK curriculum. There isn't a single school anywhere in the world that does enough to teach kids about money. And their usual fallback excuse is that, oh, the kids are going to learn this in economics or in business studies, but we know it's not the same thing. Economics and business studies do not teach kids how to deal with their own money. It doesn't teach them how to build a proper money mindset. It doesn't impact their behavior or their attitude towards their own money. And that is one of the big problems that we're seeing, that schools think that they're doing this, but they're not doing it. Parents think the schools are doing it. And the outcome is that the kids grow up not knowing, not having being introduced to money in any substantial way at all.
You're off in Dubai right now, correct?
That's right.
What are some of the differences that people look at money in Dubai as opposed to in other countries?
I wouldn't say it's that different. I've spoken to parents from so many countries, and they all think that their kids are really spoiled with regard to money. And I know people in Dubai think that, oh my goodness, because of the culture over here, because it's such a consumerist society, we tend to think that our kids are really spoiled as compared to everybody else's. But I've seen kids from around the world, and it's a problem we all share. No one has specific rights to it. Kids everywhere face the same problems, and it's really nothing that you can blame. I don't blame the kids at all. This isn't something that, for kids, this is an unconscious incompetence. They don't know that they don't know. And it's our duty as parents and as educators to make sure we take them on this journey from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence. That's when they internalize and they know it so well that it actually becomes second nature for them. They don't even think about what they need to do. It just comes automatically.
So now you work with a lot of kids, and what are some of the craziest thing? What is the craziest thing I would say that you've heard?
Well, okay. I've had a 14 and a 15-year-old, these sisters who were in my class, and they had credit cards with no limit on them. So they had platinum cards with they could buy anything they wanted, and there wasn't a limit on those cards. And these girls had no idea about how a credit card worked. When I asked them, have you ever seen a credit card statement? They had no idea what that meant. So for me, that was really crazy. The fact that they've never been, they weren't told this. They were just given platinum credit cards. And as part of the same class, I was asking the kids, did your parents ever say no to you for anything that you asked for? And they were really thinking long and hard. And they were like, no, I can't remember our parents ever saying no. And I was like, come on, you need to think back and tell me at least one time that your mom or dad put their foot down and said, no, that isn't something that we can give you right now. And they thought about it. And finally, one of the girls said, oh, yes, okay, I was like, oh, thank goodness there is at least one example. And she said she wanted to go for a concert, and she wanted front row seats. And her dad said, no, that is too expensive. I'm not getting you front row seats, but I will get you seats in the fourth row.
Oh.
So that was a bummer.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. Unlimited, yeah. An unlimited card with no restrictions.
Unlimited card. Yep, no restrictions on it.
Man, wish I was given that one out.
I know.
I wish I had that now.
That's true. And it's really sad because these kids they didn't even have any idea why we were shocked about that, the fact that they had it. And they were like, for them, it was just so normal. They've always had it. And why? So that, I think, was a big eye opener.
What are some of the common myths and stigmas about money that you come across? It's common.
Well, for one, I think a lot of people think that they shouldn't talk to their kids about money, or that their kids are too young, or that we don't want to ruin their childhood. Let them just enjoy their childhood. They'll be corrupted by money soon enough. And that is such a sad thing, because the best thing that we can give our kids is an early start with regard to money. Because aside from the fact that their brains at that age, till the time they're in their early 20s, their neuroplasticity is so high. They can learn so much, and it gets embedded so firmly in their brains. So they learn faster. better, it's more effective. It's actually cheaper to teach them all of these things now. And by saying that, oh, my kids are too young or they don't really need it, we are just robbing them of an opportunity. We're also robbing them of the opportunity of being able to compound that, compounding interest, one of the most powerful forces in the world. And the only way you can do that, or the kids can take advantage of that, is if they know about it early enough in life. And I think by not teaching this to kids early enough, and because statistically, most people invest at the age of when they're in their late 30s or early 40s. That's when they've settled down in life and they have a little extra money in the bank, and they're deciding where to put that in. But it's too late by then, because they've missed out on almost a decade and a half or almost 2 decades of compounding interest, which is very difficult to make up. So I think that is really, that's a shame.
And I think that is a shame too. And going back to what you were saying, that parents think that money is a corruption. In my opinion, I feel that money is a tool. So when
Absolutely.
money corrupts people, I try to debunk that. How do you feel about that? Introducing the Dollars and Cents Bundle. This isn't just another boring financial guide. It's your secret weapon for raising financially smart kids. Inside this bundle, you'll get 3 powerful tools to make money lessons a breeze. First up, a kid-friendly budget sheet. It's the perfect way to help your child track their money, build healthy habits, and get hands-on experience managing their earnings. Next, you'll unlock the guide Money Mavericks, bite-sized wisdom for busy parents. Think of it as your quick start playbook, packed with expert-backed tips to help you teach your kids about saving, spending, and everything in between. And finally, there's my favorite part, interactive digital flashcards. These are perfect for teaching core money concepts in a way that's fun, engaging, and memorable for the whole family. Here's the best part. The Dollars and Cents Bundle is completely free. Yep, free. All you have to do is sign up, and the tools are yours, delivered straight to your inbox. You owe it to your kids to give them the skills they need to succeed in life. The Dollars and Cents Bundle makes it simple, fun, and totally doable, no matter how busy you are. So, what are you waiting for? Make financial literacy a family adventure. Head over to show notes right now to grab your free Dollars and Cents Bundle link, or go to nurturingfinance.com and subscribe. Don't wait. Start your family's financial journey today.
I think money just makes you more of who you are. If you are a good person, it just gives you an opportunity to do more good. And that's what we need to focus on. That money is just a tool. It just gives you leverage to be something, to do things. And there are a lot of kids who come to the class and I ask them, like, so do you really want to be rich? Do you guys want to be super rich? And a lot of them are like, no, I just want just enough of money. And I keep telling them, I think that is so selfish. Because just imagine if you had a lot of money, couldn't you help your parents more? Couldn't you help your family more? Couldn't you help society more? And if you make them look at it through this lens, they actually begin to think, oh, I never thought about it that way. And that's why I keep telling kids, if you don't really want to be rich and wealthy, you're being very selfish, because by doing that, you are able to help so many more people. And I think by putting it in this sort of perspective, the kids, they really understand it and it hits home for them.
Wow. So here at Raising Financial, we try to empower the parents to teach the child, because you're not going to get that in the schools today, and you're just not going to get it anywhere. And when the child wakes up until the child goes to bed, the first teacher they see is the parent, and the last teacher they see is the parent. What are some of the excuses you see when parents don't want to teach their child about money?
I think most parents think, and rightly, they are concerned that because they didn't learn about money, that they aren't really the right people to teach their kids about money, or that because they have made mistakes in their life about money, are they really the right people to be lecturing their kids when they know they have messed up themselves? And the way we treat this is, for us, For one, parental engagement is very key. We insist on meeting the parents before they enroll their kids for the program. They are kept abreast of whatever we teach the kids. In fact, a lot of the kids' homework involves the parents actively getting engaged in that mission. And at the end of the program, we also have a class for the parents where we take them through what we have taught the kids and tell them, okay, now we've done this program with your kids, but these are the next steps, because it makes no sense if I teach your kids something and they go home and you're doing the complete opposite. But as far as they're a little hesitant to actually teach their kids, it's mainly because they haven't had this kind of program, this kind of education themselves. And when parents do try and teach the kids, it's not that kids listen. Kids don't, right? Especially because of the proximity bias, where as parents, we are too close to our kids for them to actually appreciate value of the advice that we give them. So this is something that, again, we need to take into consideration, because parents feel it doesn't matter what I say anyway, they're not going to listen, which is true in a way, but that is mainly because when parents talk to their kids about money, they switch into lecture mode. You shouldn't do this. You should be doing this. You should be saving. And when you switch into lecture mode, your kids automatically switch off. So we actually try and talk to the parents about talking to their kids in terms of stories and building up a storyline to it. And then you've really got your kids hook, line, and sinker once you start telling them stories about money, which they find absolutely interesting. And so that's a little bit of how we guide the parents in terms of, because every parent stands on a mountain of value. They have so much of experience and so much of value that they can share with their kids, but we just don't know how. So we actually guide them to do that in a way that's really effective.
Okay. Talking about that, you are the founder of the Kids Finance Initiative. What is the organization about, and how are you pushing forward in financial literacy?
So when I started this, Eric, I didn't intend to start a business. I was just looking to actually enroll my kids for a program, because as they were growing up, they were 8 and 10 at the time, and I wanted to enroll them for a program that taught them about money, because I could see that this was a big gap in the education they weren't getting in school. But none of the programs out there I felt were good enough. I just felt they were trite advice and just have 3 jars and things like that, which didn't really focus on the bigger aspect. I really felt that financial education is a lot more nuanced than that. And so I thought, how hard could it be? I trained myself, I bought the curriculum, I tried to teach them, but that didn't really go down so well, because like I said before, kids don't learn from their parents. It didn't go down so well. But then I realized also that kids, they might not learn from me, but they would learn from a trained professional in the company of their peers. So I started the company, put them through the program, and they absolutely loved it. And I also realized that this problem wasn't specific to my kids. There were loads of other kids around whose parents believed had the same problem. And that's how Kids Finance Initiative got started. I also realized very early on that this is a skill that is so crucial to their future well-being. This is something that they will need in order to step up and, play full out and just live a life on their own terms, which is what I desperately want for my girls. And I think what any parent would want for their child. So that's how I started the Kids Finance Initiative. You could say it was a labor of love, not just for my kids, but for any kids who'd like to learn differently.
What did it feel like when you started it?
Honestly, I think looking back, I thought I was really brave, because I just realized as time goes by, you realize how little I knew when I started. But it was also, I disrupted the system because I was not from the academic circles. But that worked in my favor, because I didn't know what rules to break or not to break. So I just went and broke them all. And I think that really helped, because as I like the way Naveen Jain says it, if you want to really change an industry, you need somebody outside the industry to do that. Because if you're within the industry, you got blinders on. You can't see the faults of that. So being from outside the industry, it was very clear to me that this is something that is so easily that we can teach them. And I could see the gaps very, very, very easily. Whereas people within the industry, within the academic circles, couldn't see it. They just saw it as, oh, we're teaching the kids economics. We're teaching them business studies. They're learning this. They're learning it through math. No, it's not. It's completely different. But I really believe that me being outside the industry really gave me that sense of, okay, I can break all the rules, because I'm not sure which ones I should be sticking to.
When did you realize you had a passion for teaching finance?
I think it came with competence. The more I studied, the more I read, the more I learned. You get more confident in what you're doing, and the more classes that we ran, every batch we run is a little better than the one before, because we actually do like a black box thing. Okay, what could have gone wrong? What could we do better? So I think it's that constant learning, the constant improvement as well, and a lot of reading, a lot of research, and just generally for us, I believe at KFI, it's not just what we do, it's also how we do it. So we're not just experts in teaching kids financial education. We're not just experts in financial education. We're also experts in teaching it in ways that kids love to learn, which is really important. And I think, for any of us who have teenagers or who has ever been a teen, we understand how important that is. And that's something we take very seriously, because I really believe that kids don't have a favorite subject. What they do have is a favorite teacher. If they like the teacher, they like the subject. And so that is something that we like to leverage off against.
I see. What is the one resource you use the most when trying to?
I tend to not stick to any one particular resource, just because with kids you need to switch it up a lot, and especially now that we are all of our classes have moved online. I really just like to look at, so I don't even use many presentation slides or something. It's just something that I like to have a discussion with them, because I realized early on that teens don't learn by listening. They learn by debating, by discussing, by asking questions. So we give them case studies, and they really love that. For example, we give them case studies of people who have earning really hand-to-mouth salaries, and yet have racked up credit card bills of over $1 million dirhams, and these stories really pique their curiosity. It's something that they cannot understand. It's something that they want to know. How can they let this happen? What were they thinking? Were they even thinking? And stories like this really seem to get their curiosity going. So I would say case studies is a really nice way to do that.
Case studies, okay. So now, let's just say a parent does nothing. What would be some of the negatives that would happen if the parent just didn't do anything? And
it's actually scary to think about that, but you would have kids who would take on student loans or student debt without even understanding the actual price of that or the ramifications of that. You'd have students getting into credit card debt just because they don't know any better, because they weren't taught how to choose a credit card, but forget how to actually use one prudently. You would get kids not knowing how to budget. You would get kids taking up jobs just because they seemed to offer a higher pay, not understanding the different aspects of the paycheck and what they could actually get in hand. You have kids sort of not being able to step up and live a life on their own terms just because they're dependent on their parents or their spouse or the government for help, and or kids not being able to start up businesses when they have an idea because they are tied to their job and they can't afford to actually quit their jobs, or kids who are, when there's a recession happening, they have no emergency funds, or who are going to work for decades and decades without any savings, or when they grow up, if you want to extrapolate that even more, who are scared about retirement because they know that they can't afford it, or who would love to give their family a sense of financial security and a better lifestyle, but can't afford it. And that is just too painful to comprehend. And all of that is so simply fixed by just teaching them about this. I keep saying, teaching kids about money. It's not about money. It's about financial freedom. It's about security. It's about self-love and self-care, because there is such a proven link between financial debt or financial stress, which then leads to gastric problems and heart problems and migraines and headaches and things like that. And then you extrapolate that further, and that goes into mental health problems. I mean, over 50% of mental health issues are caused by people who actually owe money or are in debt. So it is something that affects every aspect of your life, your relationships, your job, your careers, your retirement plans. Everything would depend on your relationship with money. So why would we not fix that? Why would we not give our kids the best sort of start that we can afford?
Good points. What age would you start?
As soon as they say I want, would be a good age to start.
I think that's a good age too. Because you got to change that to hey, can't. This is what it takes.
That's right. Yes, exactly. And also kids, they form their concepts about money by the age of 6 and 7. By the age of 9, their habits and values are formed. So the earlier that you start, you actually imprint this on them early enough, which means they're going to remember it for longer, which means it's going to be more effective. So that's why I say, as parents, we often discount the value of an early start, but it is something that is so precious. It's the most precious thing that we can give our kids, just because the earlier they learn it, the better they learn it. Just because of the neuroplasticity of their brains. They just learn it so much much better. They remember it for longer. It's hardwired in them because I've seen kids, I've taught kids right from 7 right up to 22, 23 years old. And the later they come to us, slightly more difficult it gets for them because they have a lot of unlearning to do. Whereas you start teaching kids before the age of 10 or 12, it is super easy. It's a piece of cake. They are curious, they want to learn, they don't have really any bad habits to stop doing. So for them, it's just learning. For the older kids, it's a little bit of unlearning before they learn. And then you take that further and you see why in adults, so it's so difficult to change your behavior of an adult.
In the Kids Finance Initiative, what ages
Yes.
do you start?
We take kids right from 8 years up to 24. I know 24 doesn't sound like a kid, but as long as the prefrontal cortex isn't properly wired, in my book, they are kids. And that takes up to the mid-20s to get done. So yeah,
Okay.
for us, we take kids.
Okay. What is your biggest frustration when you're teaching the kids?
No, there's nothing. It's honestly the frustration is getting them to sign on or getting the parents to realize how big a difference that this will make. Once the kids sign on, they might have some initial resistance because, oh my goodness, here's another program I'm signed up for. But in the first 15 minutes of telling them what this is about and what it can do for them, like honestly, I haven't had a single teen who has walked out of class or has said, oh my goodness, this is so boring or this is completely irrelevant, or because they can't. They know that this is one subject, this is one topic that is going to have a direct relation to their life. They can see the benefit. We take the trouble to show them the why and the how. So I really don't see a frustration teaching the kids. It's an absolute pleasure. And I really love that. I know people say teens are the most difficult demographic to teach, and that's true. But I just think we just need to rethink the way we teach them. Most teens are disengaged and disinterested in school, but that's because they don't see the value of what you're learning. They're told if they ask why, they're told it's because it could come up on the exam and you need to get a good grade. And that's not motivation enough for them. So for us, whenever we're teaching the kids, we make sure before we teach them any topic, we first start with why, as Simon Sinek says. Start with why and tell them this is why you need to learn it. This is how you're going to benefit. You do that and self-interest kicks in. They're not leaving the class at all.
Okay. So then I'll hop on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Sorry?
What do you love most about teaching them?
I love watching the scales fall off their eyes. I just love that. Like I can actually see that when we explain how credit cards work, or we explain just something as basic as needs and wants and impulse buying and how much it can cost them over the course of their lifetime, or how then they can start investing, what a difference it will make to them in their by the time they're 35 or 40. By seeing that and by comparing it to the people around them, because at every part of the class we ask them to go back to your parents and ask them what they have done about this, or ask them their experience in investing, ask them about their biggest financial mistakes. So the kids get a real life view about what things are without this. So actually seeing that and seeing their confidence grow, I think for me is one of the big things for me, because as they get more competent in the concepts of money and in understanding how it works, it really builds up their self-confidence as well. And when you see these two things come together in a teenager, competence and confidence, it's just beautiful to see.
Mm-hmm. That definitely sounds good. What action steps can a parent take?
First one, I would say start early. There is no such thing as too early to start teaching your kids. Like really start talking to them about money. Normalize talking about money. That itself will make a huge difference. And don't lecture your kids when you talk talk about money. Actually, wrap it up in a story. I think as humans, we are hardwired to listen to stories. And as teenagers and as kids, even more. So if you wrap up your message in a story, you've got them. They are listening to you. You've got them eating out of your hand. So I think that's something that's really invaluable. The other thing I would say, which I think is quite important, is as parents, we tend to focus on tactics and not on strategy. So we are very concerned about, should I give my kid a debit card or a credit card? How much allowance should I give them? What budgeting app should I use? And none of that's important. There isn't any research either way to show that kids who have an allowance are smarter about money than kids who don't have an allowance. And all of these things have their place. But I would say all of these things are tactics. What we need to focus on, and what parents tend to forget, is the strategy behind it. You need to think more long term. You need to figure out what is your kid's mindset. How can you affect that? How can you change and modify their mindset and behavior? Because once your kids know that, then actually giving them a credit card or a debit card, once they know how to use it, makes a huge difference. Because like I gave you that example before, could have kids who have platinum credit cards and who have no idea how to use them at all. So I would say focus more on the strategy and less on the tactics. That's another very key point. The third thing thing, the third point is a lot of parents are really interested in teaching their kids about investing. Like they want to enroll their kids for an investing class. And I advise them that investing is good and we should teach kids about investing. It's really it's a crucial part of the financial education portfolio. But investing is like the roof of the house. You can only put the roof of the house if you have strong walls and a strong foundation. And for that, your kids need to learn the basics. And most financial education programs, when they're teaching about investing, they jump directly into investing. I've seen them all the time. Teaching your kids how to play the stock market or about Bitcoin or how to trade. All of this. How can you teach this to kids when they don't understand the difference between debits and credit or the cost of debt or how to budget or even the importance of saving? So very clear about the fact that investing is really important, but financial education is a necessary precursor to investing.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. What is the one thing that people don't realize about money?
That it gives them an opportunity to do so much more, that it gives them a feeling of, Tony Robbins writes in his book, unshakable, that you can actually feel that you can actually be in a position where you are unshakable. And that is something you can't put a price on. And if there is a way to do that, why would we not do that? Why would we not give this to our kids? But as parents, we are thinking so short term. They need to get good grades to get into a good college so that they can get a job which pays them well. But nobody teaches them what to do with that paycheck once they get their job. And then you start the whole cycle again because they are then spending more than they're earning. They get into credit card debt. As a result, they get into the whole financial scam cycle. So it's something so small like this can actually help them. Why would we not do that?
Definitely. It would end up in the same cycle that, you just can't break. What is the best piece of advice you give the parents out there?
That financial education isn't rocket science. It's really simple to teach kids. It is a trainable skill, and it's something that you can see the returns are stratospheric. It's as simple as that. It's very simple to do. It's a trainable skill. Your kids will actually enjoy doing that, and the returns are stratospheric.
All right. Marilyn, I want to thank you for sharing with us and for us getting to know Kids Finance Initiative. Let us know if we could get in contact with you, how to get involved with the organization, and what you may have coming up in the future.
Sure. You can contact us on our website, which is kidsfinanceinitiative.com. We're also on Instagram, on Facebook, so we're pretty active on social media. You can connect with me on LinkedIn under my name, Marilyn Pinto. I'm pretty active on the LinkedIn platform. I post a lot of articles about financial education as well. And over the summer, we are running summer programs as well. Our programs are all run online, but we're having quite a lot of interest from the US as well in the last couple of months. So we just might be doing something to cater to that different time zone.
Okay. Marilyn, once again, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, Eric, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, there's one thing I know, and is one of the main reasons why Raising Financial Freedom was started. You can't afford to do nothing. You can't sit there and say, hey, you know what? I didn't get any of this. So, my kids still be okay. I turned out okay. No. This is a new era that we're in, and the financial well-being of your child is crucial to your family, to your child, to your whole family line. This knowledge is crucial to the next generation within your family, and hopefully it'll be passed on and on and on within your family. But please don't think the school system is looking out for your best interests or your child's best interest when it comes to financial literacy and all things money. And 1 or 2 classes are not going to do it. I'm just sorry. It's not. It's something that has to be ongoing throughout the child's life. So as we wrap things up here, one of the things we would like you to do, if you can, on your podcast player or your favorite app, go there and rate the show. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how you feel, and we could get a better assessment of how the show is doing. And as always, share with other parents and let them know about the show. And until next time, stay safe.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Raising Financial Freedom, the podcast. Stay connected with us directly through raisingfinancialfreedom.com. You can also join the discussion on social media, which you can also find links on our website. If you would like to speak with us, please send us an email through info@raisingfinancialfreedom.com. And as always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to please like and subscribe to stay fully up to date. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
Before you go, I wanted to tell you about a new option called Fan Mail, which uses text messaging to give our listeners the ability to text our show directly. There is a link in every episode at the top that will say, "Send us a text." You can use that link to text the show. When a listener clicks the link in our episode description, a new text message will open on your device directly to the show. It's that easy. So tell me what you think, what else you want to hear out of the show, or simply your thoughts on that episode you just heard.